Good morning. Welcome to Needlepoint Junction and the Whimsy and Grace omelet. This is Quinn's omelet. We also have a video for the Christie's omelet and a stitch guide. So this one is these three for this one. So the first egg is A. Pretty simple. Just worked a crisscross Hungarian at the top. I did not worry about the green areas at the top, and then I went back and put in beads in the holes of the crisscross Hungarian. Then I came on down with some tent stitch. I did the background around the flowers. I did the leaves, long stitches. I did kind of a little modified eyelet inside of that for that flower. So the eyelet is done, but instead of coming into one hole into the middle, you're going to work it around the yellow dot that's there, and then you'll put a bead on top. Let me get a little bit closer there so you can see that. And that stitch is stitched, diagrammed in the stitch guide. Then you come on down, and the bottom yellow and blue is done in a tent and a Van Dyke over 3. So that's the egg A. Then your gusset A is just green and white, worked in a tent, giving it a little bit of a ribbed feel to it, like a ribbon, with the varying thickness of the threads. Then the blue on the outside. Always when you're doing your beads, put them on last, double your beading thread, make sure you stretch it, and do the lasso stitch on it to secure your beads. Egg B is that pretty one. The background is done first in a basket weave. Then you come in, work the green leaves in the direction of the leaf with a long stitch. The stems are in tent. Then the blue flower is done in a rose. The bottom two parts of that rose come up one stitch, and that is also drawn out in a stitch diagram in your stitch guide. So it's not a complete rose all the way around. Two of the stitches are a little bit higher, and your stem is up underneath there. So that one's pretty straightforward. Then the gusset on that one is a little bit more to it. So this is done in a skip tent for the background in the blue. Then the yellow is done in an alternating direction of the tent to make it look like a pinwheel. And then the beads were added, the green in the background and the white in the middle of the flower for that one. And again, there are stitch guides in that, there are diagrams in your stitch guide for those as well. That's a pretty one. The third egg for this one, egg C, is actually done again in a rose, and you can either do the rose or you could do some long stitches and then put the bead in the middle the way it's painted. I put the beads in the corners of each of the diamonds on top of the white instead. And again, when you do your rose stitch, don't worry about covering any of the white area, because when you go back to do your outline stitch in the white, you will cover over any blue that may overlap or cover the white. And that's my favorite, that's pretty. Then the gusset for this one is gusset C. The background is done in a diagonal mosaic. Then I did the green leaves and stems. The blue is again done in that rose stitch like you did on egg B. Then I went back and added the beads to the edge. If you didn't want to do beading, you could either just stitch it with a cross stitch, or you could do a French knot. Then there's also a bead in between each one. Again, making sure to double your beading thread and use your lasso stitch on the ones in the middle. When you do your line of beads, you can just wait and just lasso about every third to fourth bead to get those secured. If you have any questions, give us a call here at Needlepoint Junction and we'd be happy to help. Thank you and have a great day.